Welcome, everyone, to the second episode of the New Vision podcast. We are your hosts, Jordan
and Christian.
And today, my fellow Americans, we are going to be talking about a lot of dope stuff. Christian, take it away.
Take it away. Geez, well, first, fellow Americans, way to alienate the rest of the world. Good job. Off to a great start right there. No, but for real, so last time we closed the show rather talking about a rather obscure cartoon that we remembered, Dave the Barbarian. And that just got me thinking a little bit about just some childhood shows in general that kind of we grew up on and stuff like that. And were there any like obscure shows like that you enjoyed? Because I remember in the mid 2000s, Nicktoons and a few other different things like that specifically were like they had this thing called the X's, which was this like family of super spies. If you remember that,
I do.
There was a show called Kappa Mikey. This was when Cartoon Network was getting very experimental, and they had things like Out of Jimmy's Head, and
it was very ballsy.
It was very ballsy. It really was. And some of the stuff kind of stuck the landing when they got to stuff like, you know, when Cartoon Network got to like regular show. But do you remember like because Nickelodeon had like Fanboy and Chum Chum, Planet Sheen, all this weird stuff. You know, you remember that stuff?
Yeah, unfortunately.
So agreed. So there was a time that they were getting very experimental with all that. What were your thoughts on that kind of? I guess that era of, if you remember from your childhood, that kind of like, were there any standouts or anything like that for you?
Honestly, no. You know, on like Saturday mornings as a young stud, you know, I'd always, do Saturday morning cartoons, you know, just all the cartoons that were being aired on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Not really anything obscure.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you mentioned Saturday morning cartoons because I really liked, if you remember the Kids WB, and then there was also something called 4Kids TV. 4Kids TV actually brought us the 2003 animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series. It brought us Kirby Right Back at Ya, the English dub. It also brought the English dub of Sonic X.
Gotcha,
it brought a bunch of different stuff like that. But Kids WB had like, do you remember the show Stallion Showdown? Does that...
Bro, that was legit. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Oh,
so you do remember.
That was a pretty good show.
That was. It was... The funny thing is, because I remember that and Avatar the Last Airbender was kind of like around the same time. So you had the two like really interesting cartoons where these characters, one of the main characters, if not the main character, was this bald character with special like tattoos on his head, you know.
Okay.
If I remember, the main character of Stallion Showdown, and I have to like look up the cast or what have you, but if I remember, the main character had like he had dots on his head almost like Krillin does from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, definitely.
But dude, I remember though there were a lot of Kids WB because that's where like that's where things like Johnny Test had kind of originated from. That's
really wasn't a big fan of that, to be honest. No, I was like, whatever.
There were, you know, that's one of those shows that, like, I enjoyed it for what it was at the time, but I don't necessarily want to go back to it. However, a show I do go back to even to this day, as we brought up just a couple seconds ago, was Avatar the Last Airbender.
That's like my top 3 of all time shows I watched.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
It was cool.
Whenever people say, "Oh, do you have a favorite anime?" Does Avatar count? You know.
See, that's the question. Do you consider, like you personally, Avatar to be an anime or an animated TV show?
Well, I would say it's a Western anime. It's not an anime like Bleach or Dragon Ball Z or Black Butler or My Hero Academia. It's not an anime in that sense, right? Yeah. But it's an anime style, and that was very intentional. Teen Titans had that a little bit too, mind you.
Yeah.
But Avatar the Last Airbender had it more. I would still have to say a lot of people do consider it an anime, a Western anime, if you will, and Yeah, it was dope. I don't know. It's such a... You know, the things about that show that were so good, though, were, like, the world building, the character development,
Yep.
the storytelling, the casting was really good too.
Casting was good.
Everything was. It was just. Oh my! It was such. The funny thing about that though, I didn't get into the series personally until
Avatar.
Yeah, until season
Bruh.
3 actually. Yeah, book 3 Fire. Because it's
the
such
last book too.
yeah, the last book. Well,
Okay.
and it's funny because
Jeez.
what really changed my. I know this is so dumb, but like what changed my mind on it was the fact that Aang had hair.
What? Really?
That's what made me. Yeah, that's what made me be like, all right, let me check this out because like I had seen some things about it and I was like, okay, but then I started actually deciding to follow it, and I was like, oh my god, this is really good. This is really. And then Zuko came into the picture, and after the Day of the Black Sun, you know, all this different. Because I had caught like some of the big events, like the Ba Sing Se saga and all this different stuff, right? And I caught some clips here on TV every now and then, but I it wasn't something that was a mainstay until book 3, and it ended, I believe, in 2008, if I remember correctly. But
Might have, yeah.
I think because right after that was when the terrible live action movie came out.
Let's not talk about that monstrosity.
Yeah, it did. The show ran from 2005 to 2008. The really interesting thing though is and it's so cool because while it was a part of our childhood, the show got put on Netflix, and a lot of people, kids and adults and everything in between, are kind of rediscovering this show or discovering it for the first time now even, and seeing how much they love it and everything, and that's so cool. I would love personally if this got the treatment that Young Justice got, where they ended up making more seasons for it.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like that's going to happen, but they are making a live action Avatar. Before I tell you what I know about the live action Avatar, what do you know about it?
All I know is that that's it's gonna be live action. There's actually that's literally all I know.
That's literally all I know.
Yeah, literally.
So,
or actually, the two guys that actually created Avatar: The Last Airbender,
right,
the animated series, they're not on board with, or at least I don't think they are.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
They left because of. I guess the nice way to put it is creative differences, because there were a lot of things they wanted to do, and I guess they're still doing with Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm afraid, and a lot of people kind of seem to feel this way, that they're going to try to make it like, the new Game of Thrones, or the new what was that shitty show about our Archie characters? Oh, Riverdale. I know, I'm sure I just alienated a lot of people because people love Riverdale, but I can't stand it.
I've never seen it.
It's... Oh, God, I can't.
And I will never ever see it.
Between that and then the show...
Sorry, people.
What's it called? The show about the girl who... Oh, 13 Reasons Why. Those shows, they're so, like, melodramatic to me. Like they're like forced drama.
It's like teen drama.
Well, yeah, it is teen... and teen drama is fine, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But not... I don't know, the way they handle it in those shows, I'm just not a fan. But anyway... I'm sure I'll talk about that sometime in the future. Right, I wanted to focus specifically on Avatar: The Last Airbender, the live action. So, I've heard talks that they wanted to do things like, okay, in the show, Aang's 12, Katara's like 14 when they start and everything. They're probably like, whatever, and Zuko's, so they're all older or younger kids, right? So one of the things they wanted to do in Avatar: The Last Airbender was they wanted to age the kids up. Gotcha. Why did they want to do this? So they could have sex.
Really?
Yes.
Yay.
Now
naughty creators.
I have no problem with if they want to make the characters older and they want to give them more adult things to deal with and stuff. That's fine, and it's in some ways it's more, I guess, believable that a character like Aang, for example, would be able to take on this big bad as a powerful young adult rather than a powerful kid, but just in general, not a fan. It comes off because it comes off as gratuitous, where it's just not necessary. One of the interesting things, like with all of them, all the characters, is that they were kids kind of having this adventure, and that they yeah, there were, romance elements and all these different things and stuff.
Basically,
but they didn't,
kids kicking grown-ups' butts, basically.
That did happen a lot. Yeah, there was a lot.
Like, man, I can't believe a firebender who was probably like 30-something years old got bested by a 12-year-old kid.
Which one? There were a lot.
Hey.
No. I mean, which fight? Do you mean just like the soldiers in general?
Yeah,
how they were
just a soldier in general who's had probably more training, but Aang's the Avatar and all that kind of stuff.
But anyway, and I'm sure there were other reasons. But look, if the creators of the show were so on board and supportive of Forrest, and now they're leaving, that's not a good sign.
And like honestly, what I think, since you told me that, I think it would be bad. Like how the main reason was for them to have sex.
Yeah.
Like that's unnecessary. Like
right.
Like I think it should like they should keep that out. Like
I just
like to me it just feel weird.
If you I don't know if you want to like continue the story that they have or fast forward several years in the future or something. I get that, but part of the cool thing with those characters is that, in my opinion at least, because they're kids, you get to see them navigate that kind of awkwardness of
exactly
all the things of growing up, and you get to see things like for example, Zuko being a teen growing up into a young adult very much parallels his whole trying to find himself and searching his destiny. I mean, we're all doing it. Hell, we're even doing that to an extent, even as young adults, and you're especially doing that as a teenager. Like those are your formative years.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, it all kind of just parallels and goes together very nicely. But if you want to do something like Riverdale and shit like that, then I mean, I guess that's the way to go about it. But
like honestly, if they did go through with the live action Avatar, and that what you said would be the main reason for the whole thing, I would not watch it.
Yeah. Well,
like I don't know, it just takes away the wonder of Avatar. The world of Avatar.
I wouldn't say it takes away the wonder. I am interested to see it done. I'm still interested to see it. I guess I'm cautiously optimistic because Now
the Witcher sex scenes I would watch.
Well, The Witcher. The Witcher has always been like a very adult video game franchise when it So I mean, it works for. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on this. Doesn't Henry Cavill play The Witcher, the main character? That's what I thought. Yeah, the Superman. That's cool. But I don't know enough about The Witcher to really say. I've tried to get into the games, but they're not quite my cup of tea. We talked about this a little bit. I'm very picky when it comes to the video games that I play. How about yourself?
Well, for instance, I kind of game at Smash Brothers Brawl. Yes, I did that. But Ultimate, I play that a little bit. My main game that I play is the Pokemon franchise, which I'm an avid fan about. And like a little bit of Mario Kart.
A little bit of Mario Kart.
So and like the old school Super Mario. Like the side scroller. All that kind of stuff. I'm a big fan. All these racing games and all these.
What about genres? If you were to say the kind of genres you like, what kind of genres would that be for you?
Open world.
Okay.
Because this game took a huge dive. I think it was 2018. Pretty sure it was 2018. A little bit of 2019. But there's this game called Anthem.
Yeah, oh my god.
Bro, every gamer in the world was digging for that game.
It looked so good.
It was so good. And then my brother got it before release, that special thing, whatever. He played it, and he immediately texts me after 3 hours of playing. He's like, bro, I know you don't have a PlayStation or Xbox, whatever it was on.
Right.
But if you have the gaming system, don't buy Anthem.
No.
Because he said and I actually saw it myself.
Yeah.
He said for the first hour, hour, he could not get on because so many people were basically making it explode. Because it was basically an online game. There was no.
Of course.
People were bombarding it. So many users were coming in.
Was that what his problem with Anthem was?
No. That was just the problem with everyone. With everything at the beginning.
Because I have a lot more problems with Anthem.
Oh, me too. but the main thing was for the first hour or two. No one could get it was worldwide. No one could get the game going because everybody was digging into it, trying to play it.
So I'll explain my experience with Anthem a little bit here. My roommate at the time was like really into it, was following it and everything. He showed it to me. I mean, I saw it like at E3 and stuff.
Yeah.
Didn't blow me away so much. But I saw that you could pick these different classes and you could do, and there was like this, like a robot, like a ninja kind of character you could play as,
yes.
a mercenary, I think it was called.
Yeah, there was.
And I was so stoked to play that. I was like, yo, this game looks like it's gonna have something for everybody. This looks so fucking cool. And I'd never played it, but I saw footage of it, and I saw how fucking repetitive it was. And I was like, what the hell? What? So you're like in an arena and all you're doing is like destroying things around. Like you're not really doing anything. You're just grinding the whole time. Like it's like an RPG where you're grinding, but there's no point to the grinding. So the more I played it, the more I was like, the more I saw, I just couldn't do it. I was like, okay. I mean, granted, I didn't have the system for it anyway. I don't know if it's on the PC yet, but I just couldn't do it. But as I was saying, I'm super picky about games. We mentioned briefly before how you're a huge fan of Pokemon, I'm a huge fan of Sonic, but in general, the genres that I like are typically action, platformer, racing, fighting, but the only fighting game I actually like is Smash Bros. I can't do a traditional, like, 2D, like, Street Fighter kind of fighter game. I don't like...
Does that in Mortal Kombat in it?
Yeah, I can't...
Like, Jordan, I'm gonna kick your ass in Mortal Kombat. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And he does, every single time. I'm like, dude, you're a freaking nerd. Like, what? He literally, like, people would say it's spamming, but it's not.
Zoning.
Oh my gosh. It's like, bro, like... He's like, well, my problem, he's like, yeah, your problem is you're not playing this game more enough. And I'm like, because I got other stuff to do, bro.
Right.
Jeez.
Well, so
he's like, well, if you were playing this more often, you'd be able to beat me. I'm like, yeah, let's say that about Brawl. Let's see that. Yeah, or Ultimate. Wow. Or Pokemon. Yeah, see that.
No, I understand the sentiment.
Punk. I'm just kidding, Jeremiah, I love you.
No, but like, so with all the crazy button combinations and stuff, I just couldn't. What I love about Smash as a fighter is it's very, what I found is I like games that are easy to play, difficult to master, if that makes sense. Where like, it's very easy, very intuitive to get into it, to go, to all that stuff, but to really be good at the game, to be flashy, to do all these different, you have to like really master it and like, be really, really good at it. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things I love about the Sonic franchise so much, is it's about kind of mastering these levels, mastering the gameplay, and so that you can just play them really well and look flashy as hell while doing it. Now, I love platformers, but I don't like collectathons. Collectathons are essentially... So they're games where you have, like, Banjo-Kazooie, Jak and Daxter, Crash Bandicoot. It's basically where... your goal, you have to collect so many different objects in order to not like to unlock different areas you can get into, and you're not playing to like just get to the end of the level and move on that way. You're playing in order to where you have to grab like different tokens of some sort, different MacGuffins of some sort, and the big one, the first one that kind of brought this genre to life was Super Mario 64, and I was not a fan of it. I never liked Super Mario 64 or any of the 3D Mario games, and that actually brings us to a topic that, while I don't have any specific nostalgic connection to it, Nintendo is releasing, for Mario's 35th anniversary, they are releasing a collection of some of the most classic 3D Mario games from the Nintendo 64, GameCube, and Wii. Great idea and concept. Great, amazing idea. But there's major problems I have with it. For one, they're all ports.
Yeah.
The reason I have a problem with that, because I keep seeing this defense that people give where they say, oh, well, they never said it was going to be remasters. They just said they were going to... My problem is it's called Super Mario All-Stars 3D. Now, in 1993, I think it was, they had released Super Mario All-Stars for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, which was a collection of the original Mario games at the time that were 8-bit, and they took those and put them from 8-bit to 16-bit. They made the sound better, they did all these different things, and yes, it was a full game, it was fully priced, but it was updated versions of these other games. My problem with Super Mario All-Stars 3D, personally, is that it's charging full price for a collection of ports. And again, I don't have any nostalgic connection to any of to either Mario 64, Sunshine, or Galaxy. I'm glad that they're there in a package for people that can enjoy them, but I don't like that they're just ports. And I also really dislike they have this thing where you have to get it by March 31st, and there's a few games they're releasing around this time where you have to do that. And it's I don't. It's very anti-consumer because if you don't get it by the 31st, it's gone forever.
Oh wow.
Now
sucks to suck.
I guess
get it.
Well, the problem with that is scalpers. People will get this game and then they'll charge insane prices for it online for people to buy it because it's something like this is going to become a bit of a status symbol for people and stuff where they're in the gaming community where like, oh, I have Super Mario All Stars 3D, stuff like that. These things happen, and I don't know. It's just there's a lot of things I don't like about it. Now, what's cool actually is next year, and we don't have much to say on this right now, but next year is Sonic's 30th anniversary. 30th, yes. And Sega did say that there are going to be games. Now, games with an S does not necessarily mean they're going to be mainline games. My personal thought is they're probably going to have one mainline game, maybe something like Sonic Mania 2 or something like that, and then they're going to also have what's it called? The mobile games. And they say they're also going to have online digital content and all this stuff. What that means specifically, I don't know. It could mean animated shorts they're putting on YouTube, like they did last year or the year before for a couple promotional material things. The possibilities, I guess, are kind of endless. But I mean, I am stoked for that. I am looking forward to that. I don't like that the only time we're getting games anymore is whenever there's an anniversary for the character. It's like, those of us that are fans of the franchise still want to be fans of the franchise. And I think that's part of why I fell out of gaming myself, because there hasn't been anything good for Sonic since 2011, to be honest. Since Generations, it's kind of been, like, Sonic Lost World in 2013 was lame, Sonic Boom in 2014 was gross, and Sonic Forces. It was so bad. And then Sonic Forces in 2017 was just bland. It was, I guess, a step in the right direction, but it was just bland and kind of forgettable. Kind of just boring in my opinion. But anyway, that's enough about, I guess, those kind of things.
Jeez. Gross, man.
Gross. That's the best thing that I can say to think about them. Yeah.
We got a game critic in the house.
Well, it's funny you say that, because before I had actually started deciding to make music and stuff, I did actually
think about being like a game critic or something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna do like Let's Plays and game reviews and stuff like that.
I see you doing that.
I was
okay.
But I hate editing. I hated editing so much. I was like, no, I can't do this. I can't. I couldn't do. There were just a lot of things against it. And I realized around the time that because I did actually initially launch, not this channel, but another channel that I had launched it where it was going to, or maybe it was this one before I rebranded it. It was going to be video games and all that different stuff. And around the same time that I was doing that, and I only made 2 videos, but around the same time that I was doing that, I started writing my own music. Mm-hmm. And initially I was like, well, this is just going to be a hobby, this isn't going to be a big thing or whatever. But the more I did that, the more I realized I really like doing this. I can do this. I can actually write my own music, and I can make this happen. So I just decided, I'm more passionate about this. I feel like I can make a more positive impact in the world by doing this.
Yeah.
And I really don't like the editing process. Like if I could just, and I thought about streaming and different stuff like that too, where you just kind of, play and talk or whatever. But I don't know. That's one of the things that I love about this is we can just talk about whatever the hell we want. Mm-hmm. I really like that I can just, because that's something. It's one of the things I really love about a lot of Let's Plays and stuff, where the ones that I watch, they kind of go. They talk about the game enough, but they kind of go off the rails on different topics too. Some of the first things I even started that got me into YouTube in the first place were gaming channels, like commentary channels, like Hellfire commentaries, Brain Scratch commentaries, and those guys just opened a whole new world for me, really, and that's how I found out about things like Audacity, which we're recording on now, and so many other different things. I've learned a lot from that. I don't know. That's very much, I guess, kind of the world of the internet and YouTube that I started in, was that kind of like gaming kind of world. Yeah. And then I've transitioned more to like, now I kind of just have a mix of that and the music and the like, I know enough about mainstream YouTube stuff, and I've gotten a bit into the like kind of the, I guess, left tube or bread tube as it's called, and the political stuff with all that. So I don't know, it's interesting. It really, I look back, and I was just thinking about this earlier today. How different do you think you would be if the internet as it is today didn't exist? How different do you think you would be? Because I honestly don't know who I would be. I don't know.
Yeah, I would be very, 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 very different.
Right.
I actually don't know what I would be like, or be doing, or like I don't know. And I'm actually so glad that you and me and everyone else that are around our age has grown up in this digital world,
right?
Because like mom and dad were telling me like a couple months ago, like back in the day, like the quote unquote text messages, were writing a letter and putting it in the mail, and waiting days until
or email,
or email, and then you have to wait and wait, and wait some more. But and bro, we've got like our phones.
Yeah,
I'm really grateful for it, because man, if you don't know what is what, you can just look it up. Like, let's say you don't know what Smosh is.
Right? You didn't know
you can literally look up what is Smosh, and it'll give you what it is.
Yes.
But back then, if you had to look up something, you had to drive however long to a library,
right?
And like either go through a book or something.
I know it's
look. Oh, this is what this is.
It's crazy to me.
It's
to think the fact that
I'm really blessed.
The term "look it up" used to mean going to a library and like looking stuff up in a book. I had no idea. I thought that was like a new term for looking stuff up online. I heard it would be like look it up. Like, but wait, how did you look? Like my parents would tell me, or my would be like, oh, we used to look up stuff like in the library. I was like, how do you, what, you like used a computer to no, we just looked stuff up by going I'm like, what? That's not looking something. It's just mind boggling.
Yeah, and that actually brings me to, sorry, go ahead.
No. You were mentioning something there that I had remembered, but I lost it. So you go ahead.
Okay. But yeah, no. In college, one of my professors, my English professor, he gave us a little project. The project was, obviously, it was like to do something on like the Native Americans and like some war, just some. I totally forgot what it was, but it was a project like that. And like what language they spoke and all that kind of stuff. And he said, but the kicker is you guys aren't allowed to use the internet. And we're like, what? Like, no going on your laptops and doing that stuff. He said, you guys have to go, and I won't tell you how I'm doing this, but I will keep an eye on each and every one of you to see if you go on the internet or not. But the challenge is, don't use the internet. Go to a library or go somewhere besides the internet and get your information from there. And one kid was like, well, can we use the computers in the library? And he's like, absolutely not. That's that's the internet.
Yeah, of course.
And he's like, oh. And he's like, all right, get cracking. And yo, there was like 4 libraries on campus. Yo, the libraries were packed for days. Packed like you couldn't even get in.
Wait a minute, was this like a home project that you had?
No.
Did you have to prove that you had a physical book?
Yeah.
Okay, because what I was going to say is you probably... Alright, well, never mind. Because I was going to say you probably could have just, like, found online sources and
you literally
books,
had to get, like, either from we were struggling.
Yeah, totally.
Like, and our professor at the deadline, he's like, wow, and then you have really gotten this far, far at all. We're like, because we're used to doing internet stuff, looking it up on the internet. He's like, all right, I'll give you guys like a couple more months. And a couple more months went by, and all of us finally got the assignment done.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, all you got like B's and A's, which was fantastic.
Sure.
That was great for me. And he's like, so, how did you guys like this, the kick of the project? And we're like, it sucked ass, man. This was stupid. And he's like, well, that's what my generation had to go. We had no such thing as a cell phone or a phone.
Yeah.
If you want to look up something if you want to look up something at all, you have to go to a library and get a newspaper or an actual book where you can flip the pages instead of clicking down on the screen and look stuff up. So I realized at that time how much I relied on the internet so much.
Oh yeah, of course.
But I'm never ever doing that ever again.
Yeah.
Not in the middle. Well, I like the internet, people. I like it.
It's always a weird, like, the idea of, I would always be told by my parents growing up, well, we didn't have such and such when I was a kid.
That's what my parents would say too.
But you know what? If you really think about that,
get with it.
But if you really think about that, that's true for literally every generation. Because the idea is, my parents would say things like, oh, kids today, you guys don't know how easy you had it when I was blah, blah, blah. But the reality is, when they were our age, or younger at this point, when they were back in high school, they didn't have access to the technology that their parents had, and their parents didn't have access, and so on and so forth. It's like, well, if you carry that back far enough, you can say, well, when your ancestors used to have to, serve, I don't know, the lords of the land and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it's just kind of a ludicrous, it's like a so what? You're right, it wasn't this way back in your day. What's your point? It's not that time anymore.
Yeah, like I said, it's 2020.
Either adapt,
get with the program.
Yeah, you either adapt or get left behind, truthfully. So that's just kind of the way it works.
Yeah, so that I'm never... Professor Hendrickson, if you're listening to this, I hated that assignment and you're scum. Just kidding, you were a great professor. But that assignment, never doing it ever again. I'm actually...
Why?
Just... But you were a great professor.
Yeah, I had teachers that would do things like that. Nothing like that project, but I did have a project back in middle school. We had to make a brochure for a different country, right? And it was for my geography class back in the day. And
back in the day,
I made this brochure. I made this out and everything. It was ready to be printed. I don't know I didn't have my own computer at the time. I was using my home computer. I don't know what exactly my dad did, but somehow he deleted my file.
Nope.
He deleted the entire thing.
Ooh.
And it was literally due the next day.
Ouch.
So I didn't have time to go and put my own stuff
Yeah.
back the way it was. So I copied and pasted everything from Wikipedia. And I got an F on the project for plagiarism. And I thought to myself, well, yeah, I did plagiarize. But
Had to.
it was either that or I would have just turned it. It was bullshit. But I mean, I understood why. And people were, oh. I'm like, well, whatever. I don't,
You see, the story is...
What's the story?
My dad deleted.
Instead of, oh, that'd be funny. Like instead of my dog ate my homework, my dad deleted my homework.
Good times.
Yeah.
Good times.
Good times. So, something else I wanted to bring up. Mentioned about how don't know kind of where you'd be without the internet and stuff like that. I know for a fact I wouldn't be doing this.
Me neither.
I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be pursuing the career that I am. See, until I realized that people could kind of make something of themselves online by using the internet, I always just thought, well, I wasn't born in California or New York or somewhere. I don't live in a place where I can go and just make something of myself as an entertainer. I can't do that. So I guess I'm just gonna live a pretty normal life. There was a time where I wanted to be a music teacher. What I really wanted to be, what I decided I wanted to be before I had gotten back into making music and even Let's Plays and all, wanting to do that and everything again, was I was going to be a DJ. And none of that happened. But
I actually can't see you being a DJ.
no, okay, let me clarify. I don't mean like an EDM DJ. I mean kind of like what we're doing, like a radio show.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
Right.
Okay. Never mind. I can't see you doing it.
Yeah. That's what I was what I wanted to do, and then in the end, of course, none of that happened. So, it is what it is. But yeah, man,
Yep.
I don't know. Like, it's just crazy to think, especially because now, like you mentioned, we look stuff up. Mm-hmm. We Google stuff all the time. Fun fact, by the way, Google. That was actually a term that Google did not want to be used as a verb. Google. There's this thing, I can't remember the term for it, but there's this term where when a brand kind of becomes associated with either a verb or a general thing, rather, like Kleenex, when people talk about tissues, they'll talk about Kleenex, or a lot of people refer to soda as pop, or Fizz. Coke, I mean. When they just mean any kind of soda. Different things like that. So, it's a brand delusion, or something like that it's called. And, so, with Google, it was the show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is back in, 2002. They used the term, oh, you can Google it. And Google hated that. But basically, people kind of just won by war of attrition because they kept using the term, people would keep using the term Google as a verb, and they just kind of accepted. They were like, all right, fine. So they just... Yeah. But it's interesting how that happens with different brands and stuff.
It really is.
Yeah. But, speaking of Google, Google and specifically YouTube. See, there's ups and downs to everything, because you have the incredible ability that Google and YouTube has brought on, for people to broadcast yourself, right? Especially. Yeah. And the thing is, though, they people can put up basically whatever they want. So they have to have things in place to make sure that, full movies aren't being put on, and, music and stuff like that, all this different stuff. And they have different copyright systems in place. Well, they have a really, really shitty copyright system, because a lot of it's automatic. So here's a story. There was an episode of Family Guy, and I don't know about you, I'm not a big fan of Family Guy.
Me neither.
But there was an episode of Family Guy, and where they were exploiting this glitch from a well-known, I'm not sure if it was Super Nintendo or it was NES, but it was this retro game they were playing. And basically what happened was, they're exploiting the glitch, but the footage that they used of them playing the game, the footage they used of the gameplay, was footage that someone else had recorded and put on YouTube. And they didn't credit them for it or anything. And it got worse, because this username was called Switch, spelled SW1TCH. This was put up years before the video before the Family Guy episode was made. Because of YouTube's broken-ass copyright system, it recognized that clip from Family Guy and copyrighted the person's own material.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Bunch of thieves.
Yeah. Oh man, it was so fucked up. It was so, yeah. Oh god, it was bad. And that little factoid, as well as the Google thing, I definitely can't speak. I definitely can't take credit for any of that on my own. There's an incredible. I don't know if you follow any YouTube channels or anything else like that where they speak, where they kind of are like, I guess, I don't know if I want to say educational, but they, you learn interesting things or whatever, right? So there's this great one I follow called Fact Fiend, and that's where those things came from. It's these great guys that they basically just talk in front of to each other about a different topic of the day, a different subject, which is based on an article that the author Carl Smallwood had made, and yes, that's his real name, had made on an article on the website called Fact Fiend. And it's really cool. It's a really cool concept. It's a really cool. It's dope what they do, and that's something else that's such a cool thing. But that would have never existed 10, 20, no, maybe 10, 20, 30 years ago, right? That never would have existed. It wouldn't be possible. You know? I mean, the closest thing we had to what YouTube offers us now is there used to be, and there still is, well, maybe there's not anymore, but there was, public access cable or something like that it was called. That's what, on Wayne's World, what they were, that was a show they had on public access.
Okay.
And that's what Trevor Moore from The Whitest Kid You Know, that's how he started, and different things like that. But it just pales in comparison to what we have with YouTube and everything. I mean, this is how, that's how Bo Burnham got his start. That's how fucking Justin Bieber got his start.
Bo Burnham, my dude.
Dude, I know, and I know you love Oh Bo. I know that's your favorite.
That song is a riot. For those of you who haven't heard it, go look it up. It is.
Well, it's Bo Burnham, and the song is called Oh Bo.
Some say it's ridiculous. I say it's fantastic.
Gonna fucking destroy their ears. Don't do that. But no, seriously. I'm hearing the feedback, and that's gonna fuck up their ears. You're gonna hurt them.
It's okay.
Gee, rest in peace, headphone users. Anyway.
I'm a loud person.
That's fair. I can balance the audio and shit for them. Anyway, what were we talking about? Yes. So yeah, Bo Burnham and all the and Bieber and all these people kind of really blew up. So did oh my god, Rebecca Black.
Never heard of her.
Yes, you have.
I have not.
You know the song Friday. We talked about this a few days ago.
Never mind.
Yeah, she did the Friday song, which really interesting story about that too. She with that, so that was basically supposed to be a birthday present that she would make this little thing with some friends, and nothing major was supposed to happen with it, but the people that made it put it online, and people started making fun of her for the song and everything. It was supposed to be something that no one really saw. She went through a lot of shit because of it, where she had to move to different schools, but she really got her life together. And her life wasn't she wasn't fucked up. She was just being bullied and shit. But she's actually a really good singer now. She's legitimately. She's good, but she got her start on YouTube, and so many of these people got their start either through that or the internet, or you got the Vine stars, right? That are professional comedians and stuff now and different things like that. It's just such an incredible. I mean, the internet as a whole just kind of opened up this whole new world for everybody, and I don't know. It's crazy to think about how different it would have been just. Yeah, if these kind of things just didn't exist. Same thing with models. You get Instagram models and stuff like that they're kind of like traditional models, except they're doing it all on Instagram, and they're getting all the perks of being a model, maybe even more, and they're doing it all from Instagram and different. And it's insane.
It's mind-boggling.
What?
It's mind-boggling.
Mind-boggling. Yes, it is.
Mind-boggling.
Yes, it is. I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Are there any like major kind of contributions to the internet you can think of that the world just wouldn't be the same without? Preferably beneficial ones.
I can't think of any, to be honest. Like, really, I can't. I literally can't think of any contributions.
Really? You can't think of any other like really great websites or anything that have been created and majorly changed the world? Not even like Twitter or something?
I mean, Facebook?
Facebook was the big one that kind of was the catalyst.
MySpace.
MySpace was the first, bro. Yes. Yeah.
Other than that, I can't think of any.
We were both pretty young at the time, but did you ever have a MySpace?
No, I didn't.
I wouldn't.
But recently,
okay.
I actually went on the App Store and tried to find MySpace.
Uh-huh.
I can't find MySpace at all.
Right.
Literally, I'm like, I want to go old school, man. I want to see what MySpace was. No, my dad had MySpace.
You can see what the MySpace what the MySpace, geez, what MySpace looks like using like the Wayback Machine or something like that. But generally speaking,
did you have a MySpace?
No, dude, I didn't even have a Facebook until 2013. I think I made mine. So it was fun. I guess I made my Facebook and my YouTube around the same time. It wasn't really intentional, but I guess it's just the way it happened. But yeah, I don't know. It's I mean, no, but yeah, MySpace completely kind of changed, brought this concept of people. I mean, it was very similar to Facebook, of course, but I don't know. I guess I can't really speak much on what I do know about MySpace. What's interesting, that's where a lot of bands like Never Shout Never or oh god, what was the one? They have like a shit ton of controversy right now, and they're kind of a shitty band anyway. Blood on the Dance Floor. That's where they came from as well. And this very like synth pop kind of mix of, I don't know, this weird like emo scene, synthy pop sort of.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting is a word for it. That is a fitting word. It was a very, very strange time, the mid to late 2000s. But in all honesty, I really do love it. Even for kind of some of the bad that it brought, I do love it overall. I would say, because, some people are like, oh, I'm a 90s kid, I'm an 80s, whatever. I would very much say I'm a 2000s kid. I'm 100, because one, I was born in the 2000s, and I just love so much about that kind of, I don't know, the way people were in different. I love the technology and stuff we have now, but I guess, like, I don't know, I love, like, how, alternative rock was really, like, at the top and different things like that, so, I don't know, there's a lot that, do you have, like, because I guess the generation, I would say, for years I had always said that I related the most with, and I still do. I love a lot of the style of, like, the 50s and 60s. Not a fan of the racism and sexism and shit like that they had going on, but other than that, but I like the style, of those eras.
Me and a couple of my friends, like, a few years ago, we had this era party.
What? Sorry.
Era party.
Oh, era. Okay.
Where you can dress up like you're from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. Up until now. I went with a lot of like Marty McFly type of
80s, 85.
Yeah, 85. Bro, I could totally rock that stuff in modern day times.
Yeah.
I really, really could. But yeah, no. Yeah, I like my mom, man. She talks a lot about when she was in the 80s and all these stories.
Yeah.
Fantastic stories. And I'm like, I want to go to the 80s for like a month and just stay in the 80s for a month. And
Here's the...
Because literally, I'm like, let's say I'm in the 80s, right? Walking down the sidewalk with my phone.
No.
And someone walks by and they're like, what is that?
Wait, do you mean take the technology we have now to the... Dude, that would terrify people. That's not...
Literally, the person walking by would be like, what is that?
Oh my god.
It's a phone, like, oh god. Have you heard of touchscreen before? No.
No, of course they haven't. Jesus.
Just to freak them out. That'd be fun.
Dude, they wouldn't be ready for that. But so it's interesting you bring up, like, oh, I'd love to go back to the... What I noticed... This is where it gets very, very real. No. But what I noticed is that there's a lot of... Nostalgia is a very powerful thing. You can look back on different times in the past and think, oh, things were so much better at this point because X, Y, and Z. But every year of your life, every decade of the world, every generation... everything, there's always been problems. There's always been... Nothing was ever perfect, right?
No.
And when you see...
Hell no.
And when you see, like, the 50s or the 60s or whatever depicted, or you see the 80s, and understand also that that wasn't necessarily the norm for everybody, right? That might have been a very, like, small subset of, like, really upper class people or something, right? But that's what history remembers more than anything else. And it's valid, of course, it exists, but there were, the 80s were cool, but, like, the AIDS, epidemic was like, on the rise so much, there was a lot of, or I guess rather not really epidemic, the paranoia, especially, there were all these different things going on. There was, no time, no generation, no any of that is ever perfect. There are good and bad moments of everything. Of everything, and I think that's an important thing to remember, because it's very easy to get swept up in that nostalgia and think, oh, well, I wish you could go back to this time when things were so much simpler. And were they really, though? Were they really simpler, or is it just that you're kind of feeling that they were that way because of what's going on now?
Being 10 years old, and the only thing you have to worry about is what your next meal is going to be.
Yeah, well...
For me, that was a simple time.
It's funny you say that, though, because for us, yes, that's true, but there were also people, and there still are, where, they're 10 years old, and, the worst thing they have to worry about is what their next meal is going to be, but not in, like, that's all they have to worry about, they're, like, them and their family are really struggling for money, and they have to worry, like, what is my next meal going to be? There's a very different way you can take and kind of look at that concept and everything. Well, the coronavirus doesn't have anything to do with it. I'm talking about people in deep poverty and different things like that. But these are things that would... I don't have enough knowledge on the subjects to really make valid points on them. I just, right now, I'm kind of pointing to a fire. One that I think most of us know is there, and I'm guilty of it myself, a lot of us kind of ignore at times for the wanting to keep the status quo or, what have you. So, anyway. But no, my point is, there's always going to be people that have it harder than you, and there's always going to be different points in life where, it'll be really easy to look back and think, oh yeah, things were so much easier back then. But really, it's just perspective, because when you were going through it at the time, it didn't feel that way. It wasn't that way at all. And it felt like the horrible things that happened to you that you look back on now, you're like, oh, that's all I went through like 5 or 10 years ago or whatever. Well, at the time, it was really bad. You can get through things that you have now because of what you've gone through before. And I think that can be similar to, societies and civilizations as a whole, where, you can get through really, really terrible events throughout history and be stronger because of it. So I think that's all important as well.
No, I remember one time in middle school, it was some project that we were working on, and it was around Thanksgiving time.
Right.
And our teacher was like, it actually wasn't really a project of some sorts. It was like more like a go out and see how it is type deal. So that thing was, we had to go home, and we obviously had to tell our parents about this because none of us could do it on our own. We obviously had to have our parents' help, but we would have to get a whole Thanksgiving meal, and if we knew any friends or neighborhoods that were poor, we would have to go over and spend as much time as we possibly can with the families who were poor and had nothing to eat. And so I am a very loving guy, very caring guy. Like I stand up for the basically for the people who can't fend for themselves.
You stand up for the little guy.
I do. I really do stand up for the little guy.
I know. I get it.
And so that was I was like, oh, awesome, sweet. So I went home. I told my mom. She's like, all right, let's get something together. And so I remember we went to Publix and we got like two turkeys, like a couple boxes of mashed potatoes, some green beans, some sweet potato casserole. We got the whole 9 yards.
Right.
Basically a big old feast. And my mom's friend knew this part of her neighborhood that was like really poor, like broken down trailers, like poor. And the last part of the project was, she said, you have to spend as much time as you think you can with the family. And walking in, my brother was helping out too, and my dad was on a work trip or whatever. And immediately they were like, oh my gosh, like, what are you guys doing with all this food? And I told them, like, this is what, the project is at my school, yada yada. And the dad, this giant hulking dude, like wrestler type of dude, he starts bawling his eyes out, like sobbing.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my gosh, thank you. That no one has ever done this for us. Like, sure, he said people have gotten us a turkey and like a few boxes of mashed potatoes and that's it. But no one's gotten like a literally like couple month-long feasts. Like, there was enough food to last them about 3 to 4 months. And I was like, this big giant man is hugging me, bawling his eyes out. His 2 young daughters are crying. The mom's bawling her eyes out in the kitchen. My mom's bawling her eyes out, and my brother's trying not to cry. And I'm tearing up as this guy's hugging me. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is real stuff. And like you said, I can speak for everyone. A lot of times we take that for granted. Like, it's food, yay, woo, and we basically throw half of it away. We're too full, when literally you only took like 2 bites. But anyways, I spent the whole day with them and got to know their stories, and it was rough, because oh man, it was rough. I'm a big emotions guy.
Yeah.
And so it was sad to go. I was like, no, I want to spend more time with these people. But yeah, no, they it was cool to see. Like, it's not just your daily worries and I gotta do this.
It helps put things in perspective.
I'm a big, huge perspective guy. Like I always try my hardest to put myself in other people's shoes.
Yeah. And
a lot of times I do it, and that changes my mindset. My mindset is constantly changing. So I'm like, wow, like this is what it feels like.
It's always good to help others in general, of course. I personally believe that if you have the ability to help others, you definitely should. Because if you can give someone something they don't have, and that can even just be as simple as friendship or a simple hello. You know, you can just say hello to somebody and just acknowledge their existence, and you don't know what kind of difference that could make for them. But no, definitely just kind of being there for people, helping them out. I worked in a soup kitchen one time too, and I've been thinking lately. I'm not sure, because I'm sure you can do it for more than just Thanksgiving. I've been thinking of doing something like that again at some point. I don't think I necessarily want to do so while Corona's going on. Just because I don't know how well I'd be able to help people. I could still look into it though and just see what's the happenings with all that. But yeah, definitely. One thing I think is really cool about both of us is we have very caring hearts for people, and I really do think it's important that in whatever way it is that you can be there for people and just help them through whatever they're going through. Another thing, just some people just need someone to genuinely listen to them. Listen to what they, and to validate their kind of feelings, and not to enable them. If
just listen.
Just to listen, and
don't be like, oh yeah, okay, just sit there and listen. Just take it in, listen.
Yeah, that can.
Because whatever they say will possibly, if not guaranteed, give you a different perspective, give you a new vision.
Oh my god.
Boom. Hey,
you had to do that.
I literally did.
Oh my god.
But on that note, on a good note, I think it's time for us to go.
Yeah.
So,
Way to end it on a cheesy note like that.
Hey,
but
man.
It's nice. It was very.
It's a very nice
heartfelt.
cheesy note.
It is. Yeah,
and
100%.
You know, I feel like everyone in the world needs to have more hearts. Like
need some positivity. Need some
yeah.
love. Need some joy. Need some happiness. Need some goodness.
Definitely.
Restore some faith in humanity. But no, yeah, as Jordan said, that is definitely going to be all for us today. Of course, hope you liked it. If you don't, I hope you definitely find something that you do like.
Absolutely.
And we're going to keep doing this. This has been a blast so far. 2 episodes in. We'll see you guys for episode 3 in the future. Jordan, any last words? Any plugs? Anything?
Stay safe. Stay healthy.
Wear a mask if you go out in public.
Please wear a mask.
Please.
Because today I saw someone not wearing a mask in Publix.
Yeah,
and he had to be carted out of Publix.
Good. I'm good. Wait, he was like pushed out, taken out?
No, he was carried out.
He was carried out.
Like 2 guys. Well, not.
Well,
carried.
but he was escorted out. He wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys
yeah.
All right, let's go. And a couple people nearby were like,
good.
Clapping. I was like, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Please. For anyone saying about like the herd immunity and stuff, that only ever works if everybody does it, or a majority of people. I guess the herd immunity doesn't apply to masks, but regardless, real quick on that, I just want to say Uber has a very good little video about this where, and if I can find it, I'll link it in the description here. But it basically has like Omar protects Judith, Omar protects Judith protects Sandra protects...
I'm going to have to look that up.
Etc. And it's saying, like, each person protects the next person just by wearing a mask. And it's a beautiful video. I'm going to have to link it if I can find it. Anyway, that's all for us. Anything else, my dude?
That's it. Stay safe, stay healthy, love each other.
Love each other. Take care of each other out there, guys.
All right, peace.
Peace.